I have a problem. I procrastinate and get fixated on making things or buying the thing to make me even start working on what I was supposed to be working on in the first place. Like, I need to get this effect pedal so I can start writing a song. Like, maybe this pedal, or this one, or this one. Not that one. For sure, this one. Come on. Okay, this one. This one doesn't even count. But right now, I'm broke. So let's spend money making one instead. First thing you want to do is go online and buy a voice changer circuit. And then you buy a pedal enclosure, and then you wait for your order to arrive. Once the buyer's remorse has really kicked in, now you can start building your voice changer pedal. If you haven't done any circuitry or any soldering, these are literally designed for kids, so they have everything inside that you need with all the instructions. You should be fine, maybe. But for this particular thing, we are going to change it. And the first thing you need to look at is where the switches are connected to ground. Yeah, right there. And you want to alternate your wiring. So not all on the top row. You want one on the ground, as seen there. Yeah, right there. That ground. And then you want the opposite wire your switch on the opposite up there. You see? Right there. Yeah, right there. The other thing you want to do is, instead of using that resistor that's up there on the circuit, yeah, right there, that one, and you change it to a variable resistor. This part is totally optional, but what I like to do is to put these IC mounts instead of directly soldering the IC onto the board. It's sort of a fail-safe to make sure that you don't overheat your ICs while you're soldering the other components onto the board. Like I said earlier, the kit is very user-friendly and everything is labeled, which resistor, which capacitor, which everything goes onto the board, and each resistor is labeled and color-coded, so it's really a no-brainer. What I like to do is solder each type of component separate, all the resistors first, and then all the capacitors, and then after I start adding the wires and the bigger components. So because we're turning this into a guitar pedal, I'm changing the microphone in. That's going to be your input signal, so I'm putting a guitar jack on that. And then for the speaker out, well, that's going to be our output of the guitar pedal, and that's another 1/4 input guitar jack. I then soldered both of my potentiometers instead of the variable resistors, and after that I'm soldering in the wires that go to the push button. But I'm not soldering the push buttons yet. I want to solder those wires to the buttons once all the components are in the case. Now that most of the soldering is done, I can put this aside and start designing the outside of the case. And if nothing makes sense right now, don't worry, just keep watching, it'll all make sense in the end. Honestly, I'm just going to copy the Chase Bliss pedal design, since every other pedal company seems to be doing that these days. And yeah, let's just settle on this one. Wow. I do all my image editing in Preview because I don't want to pay a subscription fee to Photoshop, and I suck at Photoshop anyway. Once I finished the design, I printed it out on sticker paper and cut it out with a utility knife, and spent about 5 minutes fiddling with the thing to make sure that it was really stuck on there. Having a printable pedal design also ensures that when you're going to drill into your enclosure to add the components, you can make sure that everything is perfectly aligned. And here you can see that I really didn't put the camera at a great angle while drilling, but moving on. This part isn't strictly necessary, but if you want, you can cast your own knobs. So instead of spending $5 on knobs, you could spend $30 on this casting kit and spend about like 2 hours making your knobs. Yeah, that makes sense. What the hell am I doing? Ugh. While this cures, let's go back and put everything in the pedal enclosure. This is where you want to finally put the push buttons in. What I like to do is I put all the big components in first. I solder these wires from the board directly onto the buttons. And the space gets quite claustrophobic in that small area, and so it was a lot of fiddling, but I got it all in there in the end. Sort of. Hey, check it out, the turning knob things are dry now.
Wow.
So all that's left to do is sand them down, polish. I added a clear varnish onto it and then drilled the holes so they would align sort of okay onto the potentiometers. There you go.
Wow.
Okay, I'm finally done making the flippin' thing. But does it even work? Let's plug in the power. One jack here, one jack there, and then turn it on. Alright, sorry. Here's what it can do. Plugging it into my state-of-the-art Casio SA5, and the first knob sort of changes the vibrato pitch and speed. The push buttons, on the other hand, either change pitch up or down, and there are two others that do a sort of vibrato, and the other one does a insane robot sound. And this one's literally just a kill switch. This one does absolutely nothing, honestly. Alright, great, thanks. Thanks for watching, and you can leave now.